Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head up to Helsingborg here in Skåne in southern Sweden. So we've got quite an interesting beer to have a look at today. So we're going to return to Brewski once again. And this is one of their more regular beers actually. A lot of the beers you've seen me review from Brewski have been their kind of one-off releases and their specials, but today we're going to have a taste of my first beer from the Feber series. So this one is the Passionfeber, so it should be quite an interesting one. This, definitely looking forward to having a go at this. So they've got a series of, I think, 5 or 6 different fruit IPAs that are called the Feber series. There's Mango Fever, Pango Fever, Passionfeber, one of them I think is Mango Halon Fever or something like this, and there's a Persico Fever one that I've seen as well. So they seem to play around with this IPA recipe that they have and add different fruits and things to it, and it's meant to be pretty damn good. This beer itself got a 92 or a 94 I think overall it was on Rate Beer. So this series of beer that they do is particularly highly rated, but I've just never got around to reviewing one of these for you because I've always been concentrating on the more kind of special and one-off beers that Brewski do. So I'm really interested to try something of theirs that's a little bit more regular, and as always I hope you guys enjoy my take on this beer. But anyway, as is usual with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you want to get straight to the tasting, of course, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that I've done from Brewski before. No doubt I will add some more in the near future. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel, of course, has a geography based tagging system, so you can go into the home page and search for beer based on country, city or state, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the Swedish beers that I've reviewed for you, and as always please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys, and the support that you give the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Brewski then. So Brewski Microbrewery were founded back in 2014, and like I told you, they're based in Helsingborg in the northwestern part of Skåne here in southern Sweden. So the founders of the brewery are Marcus Hjalmarsson, Johan Britsen, Alfred Olsson and Robin Skoglund, all of whom had been largely inspired by the American craft beer scene, and they wanted to start brewing these types of beers over in Sweden. So Marcus was originally associated with the High Nose brand of beer, which was brewed at the Höganäs Brewery, and some of the beers from that brand are still brewed up there, although all of the Brewski beers are now brewed at their brewery in Helsingborg, and this brewery has a capacity of well over 100,000 litres of beer per month. In 2016 they also started their own beer festival, which is called Brewskival, and this is widely regarded as being one of the best beer festivals in Sweden, and they've got so many different brewers attending that. I'm going to go to that in August I think, but they also open up the brewery once a month as well to have like a sort of bar night, and they call that Barski as well, so keep an eye on their Facebook and you will see that. But like I said, these guys are very good for like IPAs and sort of fruit beers and some kind of sour beers a little bit as well. I have seen them do a couple of sour beers if my memory serves me right, but these guys are primarily an IPA brewery, although recently they have been experimenting a little bit and bringing out 1 or 2 stouts and stuff. So a really interesting brewery, and probably I would go as far as saying these guys are one of the best breweries you're going to find in Sweden just now. So if you get the chance to try some of the Brewski beers, I really recommend that you do. So yeah, so that's all you need to know about the brewery. As I say, check out the website and everything like that in the description below if you want to learn more. You can check out my other Brewski reviews of course as well, but let's actually get on to the tasting of this beer then. So like I said to you, this one is an IPA. It comes in at 7% ABV. On the side here it says different things motivate different people. Here at Brewski, our everyday life is mostly fueled by caffeine and sarcasm, but nothing makes our engines roar quite like the passion for brewing. The brew house smells make our bodies tingle and our brains machinate all sorts of stuff. Good and bad, hopefully our lust for beer shines through that specimen that carries real passion fruit to remind you what we are all about. Keep it real. So yeah, 7% ABV. And yeah, quite nicely presented this one. As I say, all of the beers that are in this series have a fairly similar style of artwork. I thought they actually said, I bought this in System Bolaget yesterday, but I always thought they said like Passionfeber up here, but this one doesn't seem to, and there you can see on the other side, there's the Brewski symbol, and of course the little guy there is on the bottle cap as well. So yeah, nicely presented beer. This one I think has been out for quite a while actually. You could get this when Brewski were still doing the taller 330ml bottles. But yeah, they've changed to these nice little thinner glass ones, the little stubbies. It's almost kind of like Red Stripe actually. It reminds me of these little stubby bottles you get Red Stripe in, but as you can see we had a nice smoky opening on this one, and it's a nice kind of big hazy sort of fruity IPA. That looks really nice actually. So yeah, you can smell that lovely passion fruit note coming off it as well, but what would you expect? So yeah, as you can see, this guy's poured a really nice kind of bright, kind of an orangey colour. It just looks like fruit juice, to be honest with you. It could be a tropical fruit juice this time. There's a solid finger of a frothy white head on this one. It's got a little bit of a kind of beigey tint to it, to be honest, but yeah, mainly a sort of creamy white head, this one. Some big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, and quite a few little ones just going up towards the bottom of that head there. But you know, it looks really nice. If I put my fingers behind the glass, you can see that the beer is pretty much opaque. There's not really much light coming through that at all. Like I say, it's more just like a kind of tropical fruit juice or something. You get this lovely passion fruit aroma coming off it just as you move it around. But let's take a closer look at the aroma then and see how we get on. Yeah, it really is a big juicy kind of fruity thing, this beer, which is exactly what you'd expect. Yeah, so underneath you can get a little bit of a kind of sort of there's a bit of a kind of lemongrassy, lemony citrus thing going on. There's a wee bit of a sort of floral aromaticity and kind of grassy note coming out of these hops as well, or out the hops in the beer I should say, sorry. But it smells really nice. It's, as you would expect, when it's called Passionfeber, it really is leaning towards the passion fruit side of things. But yeah, a nice smelling beer this. Just as I always say, just take a little bit of time and mull over the aroma of the beer before you actually try it. That's always half the experience with craft beer. But yeah, basically the aroma to this one is quite simple. I mean, you can smell some sort of wheaty, kind of bready malt coming out of this one. It's got a little bit of a white bready character to it. Definitely some kind of grassy and floral notes from the hops as well. A bit of a lemongrassy thing I think too. But really, your aroma, as you would expect, is dominated by the passion fruit, which is really nice. Passion fruit, of course, is when you use like Simcoe and things like that to get passion fruit. I do wonder if they'll have done that in this beer right enough. When you use passion fruit as one of your flavours in the beer, it turns out really, really nicely. Simcoe, of course, is a really nice hop, like I was saying. But yeah, as I say, take a bit of time and enjoy that aroma because it is really quite nice. It's quite a simple aroma, but it kind of gives you what you'd expect. So let's get stuck into this beer then. So this one is the Passionfeber, one of the Feber series of beers from Brewski up in Helsingborg here in Skåne in southern Sweden. Skåne. That's really nice. Yeah, that's a pretty damn good beer. You're going to notice that right away with this one. Yeah, thumbs up to Brewski. The one thing I would say about this is when I'm trying this, and it's as good as it is, I'm a bit disappointed at myself for having left it for so long before trying this series. As I say, I focused mainly on the sort of specials and collaborations and things that Brewski were putting out in the small partiers and stuff. I'm disappointed at myself when the Feber series has always been there and I've just never tried it. Because it's really good. Yeah, I can say straight away, you know, the rating that this guy has on Rate Beer, for me, it's just about right. And it's interesting to try this one because recently when I tried the, was it the Little Big Hoppy and the Conan Double IPA? Like the Conan Double IPA was probably, as I said, it was probably the best Brewski beer I've tried. And that was getting up into this kind of hazy IPA territory. But Brewski, it seems like, you know, when these are some of the older beers, Brewski have been there for quite a while. This is really good. Honestly, if you get the chance to try this, have a go at it. I mean, big thumbs up to Brewski, like I said. The rating that it has on Rate Beer, I can live with that for this one. But let's look at the flavour a little bit more closely then. So, The thing that you're going to notice about this beer, it's not overly complex, but what it does very well. So, in the middle of your palate, you've got this wheaty, white bready malt base, that just blankets the middle of your tongue there. I'm almost getting a little bit of a sort of biscuity sweetness in the middle of my tongue. It's quite interesting that it's almost got a little bit of an oaty and biscuity character to it. I don't think they put oats in this beer right enough, but it's just got a lovely, very simple mouth base to it, and the hops are quite present in this as well. So in the back corners of the palate, there's a teeny little bit of earthiness, but as you come further forward, it's a big floral aromatic character that's coming out of this one. It's almost got a little bit of spiciness to it as well. You can just feel a little bit of that spicy bitter character underneath, but around the front curve of the palate, it's a little bit lighter and sort of grassier. And it's interesting because, as I always tell you, when you add fruit to the beer, it changes the mouthfeel slightly. When you get the fruit flavours around the edge of your tongue rather than just behind the front curve of it, that's how you can always tell that there's been fruit added to the brew, and you can feel the darker elements of the passion fruit. I always find that passion fruit and grapefruit give you this slightly darker flavour to the beer than some of the other fruits that you get when you're extracting them from the hops, of course, but you can feel that slightly darker, juicy element of the passion fruit. It almost just sort of saturates the hop bitterness a little bit, so you've got this sort of spicy floral aromatic character in a way competing with the nice juicy elements of the passion fruit in this one. And of course, if you just go behind the very front curve of the tongue, you get this little oily bubble, and that's where the fruity oils, the fruity esters come out that have been extracted from the hops. And again, for me it's passion fruit in there. There's a little bit of a kind of a stronger, sort of not quite lemony citrus, but there's a citrusy element to the hoppy side of this beer. But it's definitely passion fruit. So I think overall, with the flavour of this beer, it's fair to say it's quite simple. It's not the most complex thing, but what it does exceptionally well. I think that's a good way to kind of sum up the flavour of this beer. There's not too many different aspects to it in comparison to some of the other things that Brewski have done, like Skåne double IPA or the Snout Juice Stout. I mean, it's not the most complex beer that they do, but the fact is that it's very, very well done. So if you like these big hazy kind of fruity IPAs, I think you'll definitely enjoy this one. I'm just disappointed with myself that I left it so long to actually try a beer from this series. But yeah, that's a damn good beer. Try this if you get the chance. I really want to have a go at the other ones in this series now. But yeah, in terms of the mouthfeel that this beer has, I would say it's mid-bodied. The carbonation is quite smooth. It does have a little bit of a prickle, so it does have a little bit of that crispness to it. The mouthfeel is somewhere between oily and creamy. It's got a little bit of both, and as I say, it kind of almost has the mouthfeel of some of these hazy IPAs, which is quite interesting. And I would say the hoppy bitterness, it does have a good little bit of hoppy bitterness. As you progress into the aftertaste, you feel those darker elements of the passion fruit just lingering there, and some of that floral, spicy character. The malt base is kind of toned down a little bit, but you get the, how do you say, you just have this nice little bit of hoppy bitterness there as you move into the aftertaste. There's a good bit of dark, fruity character to this one, and like I say, the malt base just has a little bit of sweetness. So overall, a good way to sum up this beer. It's not the most complex beer that you're going to come across, but what it aims to do, it does exceptionally well. I think that's a good way to kind of sum up Passionfeber, and I guess the other ones in the series will have a fairly similar feel to them. So I need to try the Malonfeber, the Pangofeber and all of this sort of thing, because those are some really quite good IPAs from what I hear. I think I tried the Pango IPA before, but I've not tried the actual, just the Mangofeber beer, so you will see me review that at some point in the future. But basically, to sum up, this is a really nice beer, and you need to try this series of beers from Brewski if you get the chance. So yeah, it's been really cool to review my first beer from the Feber series. from Brewski, so I hope you guys have enjoyed this one. Until the next time, do let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below if you've tried it yourself. Let me know what your favourite beer in the Feber series is and what your favourite beers from Brewski are. It's always great to hear from you guys, like I said, but thank you once again for watching. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Make sure you check out my social media, but most importantly, make sure you try some of these Brewski beers if you get the chance, especially this Feber series, because it's very highly rated and quite rightly in my experience so far. So I will try and review some of the other ones for you fairly soon. So yeah, thank you once again for watching, and I will catch you guys very soon. The Passionfeber from Brewski Microbrewery up in Helsingborg here in Skåne in southern Sweden. Slàinte just now.